today's episode of Kaz Cooks History, where I cook up the go-to meals of historical figures, both famous and infamous, I'm going to be cooking for... the charismatic frontman of Queen. Freddie gained global fame for his powerhouse vocals and unforgettable lyrics, penning monster hits such as Don't Stop Me Now and Bohemian Rhapsody. The man filled arena after arena, but today I'm more concerned with what filled his plate. Born Farrukh Bulsara in Zanzibar and raised in India, before resettling in Middlesex, Freddie's favourite meals were as varied as his show-stopping performances. He blended parsley spice with British comfort and favoured natural produce over tinned alternatives. So without further ado, let's get cooking and spend a day in Freddie's shoes through food. Starting with breakfast, I'm making homemade strawberry jam and orange marmalade on toast. I've opted for homemade spreads because that's the way Freddie liked it.
Yummy.
His personal assistant, Peter Freestone, said he would make 12 jars of each for him when the fruit was in season. First up, I cut the strawberries and oranges, then blended the oranges in a food processor until the rind was in very small pieces. I juiced 1 lemon, added the fruit to the respective pans along with half of the lemon juice in each. I let that cook for about 5 minutes until it started to break up slightly. Then went in with the granulated sugar for the marmalade and jam sugar for the jam. The marmalade had to cook on a medium for about 25 minutes and the jam on high for about 10. I performed the cold plate test for both. The jam wasn't running down the plate and there was a slight ripple, so I knew it was done. I left it to rest until about room temperature before storing in a jar-like container. I spread some real butter on whole wheat bread. This is in line with Freddie's whole I like natural food vibe. Then liberally coated each slice with jam and marmalade respectively, served some tea alongside and got stuck in. Even though sweet breakfasts aren't really my thing, this is impossible to dislike. The marmalade edges out the jam for me. The added texture from the rind and the slight bitterness makes for a far more interesting meal than the one sweet note of the jam. Tea is absolutely necessary to break up the sweetness. Anyway, this was my first time making these and I'm pleased with how they turned out. On to lunch. Freddie enjoyed light lunches, so this Mediterranean lentil soup, straight from his assistant's cookbook, fits the bill. To start, I chopped the onion, minced the garlic, chopped the peppers, courgette and leek, and that was all the prep required. I added about 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil to the largest stock pot I own, followed by the onion, and after about 6 minutes the garlic. Then everything else, including some thyme, and left that to simmer for about 15 minutes. Finally, I went in with the veggie stock and the lentils and let that cook for a further 20 minutes. And after that, it was ready to serve. I garnished it with some black pepper, fresh basil and some extra virgin olive oil for a little pizzazz. I also had a roll and some butter alongside. Okay, taste test time. This veggie lunch was surprisingly nice. Very wholesome, feels like every spoonful is healing you. More like a stew than a soup, but the recipe did specify that's what happens. My favourite part was, of course, cleaning the bowl with the buttered bread. Overall, a solid lunch. Dinner time. For dinner, chicken Dhansak. This traditional Parsi dish packs a punch and was a well-documented Freddie Mercury favourite. There are a few parts to making this dish. There's the Dhansak masala, an aromatic blend of toasted spices, the garlic ginger chili paste used to marinate the chicken and flavour the sauce, and the sides. For this dish, I'm going with buttery homemade naan and a fresh and crunchy kachumba salad. For the Dhansak masala, I'm making my own, because when it comes to flavour, I don't compromise.
I won't compromise my vision any longer.
I added all the spices to a hot pan and let them toast until very fragrant. I blitzed everything to a fine powder in a spice/coffee grinder and it smelled insane. For the garlic ginger chili paste, I added some peeled ginger, garlic and finger chilies to a blender along with some salt and oil and blended until reminiscent of a thick paste. Next, I cubed the chicken, then marinated the chicken in some oil, salt, turmeric, Kashmiri chili powder, the Dhansak masala and the ginger, garlic and chili paste. For the final part of the prep, I peeled and chopped an onion, a butternut squash and an aubergine, which will be used for the sauce. And now, ready to cook. Started by adding ghee to a pan, letting it come up to temperature. Fried the chicken pieces to get a nice colour. The fond at the bottom holds a lot of flavour. I took the chicken out and let it chill on the side. Added the onion, cooked it until translucent. Then I went in with the garlic ginger chili paste together with some Kashmiri chili and turmeric and cooked this for a few minutes. A splash of water to deglaze the pan and went in with the chopped tomatoes, soaked lentils, chopped vegetables, the rest of the water, a bit of salt, some kasuri methi, bay leaves, and left it to cook for about an hour at a low heat. With the curry simmering away, I had time to prep the sides. I took out my naan dough, which I had left to rise for a couple of hours, rolled it out into a naan-like shape, and then cook/toast in a preheated cast iron skillet. For the kachumba salad, I finely chopped cucumber, tomatoes, onion and coriander, and then seasoned it with some lemon juice and salt. And that's the sides done. After an hour, I added a tablespoon of the Dhansak masala, followed by the cooked chicken, a bit of chopped coriander, and crucially some tamarind puree. I tasted this before and after this step and it really makes the dish. I let it cook for about 10 more minutes and it was ready to serve, and I am excited. And in all honesty, this is probably the best curry I've ever cooked. Very thick, spicy and fragrant from that masala, but crucially quite tangy. That tamarind at the end really takes this dish from an 8 to a 10. They don't call it the Indian sweet and sour for no reason. I think because it's so thick with lentils, rice is optional, and the naan is more than enough for this to be a complete filling meal. Freddie, I knew you were a legendary singer, but it turns out you also have a legendary palate. For authenticity, I think is 10 out of 10. Between Peter Freestone's cookbook and the interviews and quotes, I think it's pretty solid. For taste, 8 out of 10 from me. Yeah, this is very personal, obviously. I think the curry was a 10 out of 10. I'm not a fan of sweet breakfasts. And the soup, I probably prefer something more meat-based for soups. Just gives it a little bit more body. But yeah, I mean, very, very good day. If you fancy making any of these dishes yourself and want the exact recipes, head over to my website, which is linked in the description of this video. Like and subscribe. I'm out.